Hi everyone, it's David Oakdown Farm. I've brought the chipper in. It's time to give it a little tune-up and give it a once-over before spring. Make sure everything's up to snuff before we put it back into service for the year. As many of you might have seen on my earlier 4-part review, I had a lot of issues when I first came in. A lot of things broke right away. It was, I don't think, assembled properly, and customer service was a nightmare and things like that. So, all that stuff is behind me, right? So I got the thing fixed, working back to, proper, and now it's been through a year of service. So it's time to give it a once-over and see how it's holding up after one season. Before you do anything with this machine, of course, the first thing you should do is remove the spark plug, right? But look at, this is the air filter basically right here. But this is the spark plug, which I can maybe get my fingers around. So, yeah, I have the air cleaner cover off so that I can take a look at the air cleaner. And you can see after one season of use, first of all, there's an oil filter on the top. Can you see that? It's not terrible. There's a little bit of junk down at the bottom, but in general, not a horrible filter. This one is pretty dirty though. It's got a lot of wood shavings in it, so what I'll do is, I won't do it with the camera on because you won't be able to hear anything, but I'll basically bend it like this to separate the veins and blow across it with an air compressor, get as much of that stuff out as possible, so it's not quite ready to be replaced. Probably mid-season this summer, I would say that's going to be done. Here's the cover for the air cleaner. Okay, and it slides over, and this is the choke lever here. Sadly though, somewhere, where is it? Oh yes, here it is. My run, choke, etc. sticker has now just dropped off. It's basically like a Dremel tool, but it's air powered. That's never gonna fall off. Okay, so do you guys know how the oil fills usually work on a standard engine? Okay, basically what you do is, generally speaking, you add oil until it is basically flush. I was maybe a half a quart low. I put about a half quart in, and now I am right here flush with the edge of the hole, which means I'm good to go. Alright, also while inspecting the engine here, last year while trying to start this, one of my bolts, can you see it down here? On my recoil starter cover snapped off, so I'm going to try and drill that out and replace that. So the first thing I'm going to do is get in here with a center punch and really bang a really heavy ding into the very center of that bolt. And then I'll start drilling it out with a tiny little drill bit and work my way up. I have now drilled a 7/32 hole. No, not 7/32, 7/64, I'm sorry, hole into the end of that bolt. And now I'm going to use a screw extractor, and it's a left-hand thread, so I have to thread that in here backwards, and we'll see if maybe I get really lucky. Okay, so far it's not spinning, but it's also not slipping. So I'm going to put some penetrating oil on this. I used PB Blaster, and I'm going to come back and we'll see what happens here. Oh, it's coming out. It's coming out. A little snug in there. It's almost ready to drop out. There we go. So, new bolt to put in its place, and we'll fix that problem too. This shield is welded on, tack welded on in a few places, but right here at the top you can see that bracket split wide open. So I suspect if I remove this screw, this whole piece would just fall off. Okay, so here you see the factory setup. Here's the muffler. Here's the belt guard. They're that close together. As you can see, there's no grid marks on it. It didn't fall and lean on these grids or whatever. It was just its proximity. On the inside, if you look, and the belt never came in contact with it. It didn't melt through from the backside, which proximity to the muffler made the belt guard melt. I thoroughly cleaned up this whole area right here. Got all the wood chips and stuff out of there. I'm checking my belt path, make sure my belts are pretty straight. Do you see that? Right through that hole. This bearing race is split right in half. So, well, I suppose I'll have to get a replacement for that, huh? Okay, here I have the infeed chute is removed, just so I can take a look at the wheel and things, and take a look in here, which I have heard from another owner that sometimes crud can build up on the axle right here, so I wanted to take a real good look at that, so I took the inlet chute off. This is the inspection door and the way that you remove the blade, basically. You have bolts that go through each of these 3 holes, and the blade sits on the inside and basically takes a slice off of the log every time the saw comes around. Okay, this is basically looking into the discharge chute so you can see what's going on the inside. Right here where my hand is, that's where the blade ends up being mounted. So your log gets sliced at this opening and gets thrown into this interior chamber, basically, that is spinning around. Inside of it are these things they call J-hammer. You can see I have one here pointing in, the next one up is pointing out. There's a set of four axles basically that spin around, so they alternate in and out. And what you should look for is whether or not the leading edge is worn, and these are straight hammers. And again, we're looking at the leading edge to see if it's worn, and these are looking like they're in good shape. So I see basically no wear to speak of. The hammers are holding up, so I don't think they need any maintenance at all. I'll probably just lubricate each one of those a little bit with a little bit of oil, just to make sure that everything spins nicely and doesn't wear out. And this here is the blade itself. As you can see, it's taken some abuse, but you can see over the course of a season, all of the dirt and just crud that gets stuck in the bark of all these things that I'm throwing in have kind of beaten this up. You can see a couple of burn spots. Okay, removal and installation of the blade is fairly trivial. It's just 3 bolts hold it in place. Alright, and that's it. It's all tightened up. The other way. Now it's time to put the discharge guard on. This obviously keeps A, big missiles from coming out of the machine, and B, it makes everything basically stay in here and keep getting hammered and hammered and hammered until it's literally small enough to fall through the hole. Pretty simple to install, as you can see. Okay, here's the rubber flap I removed. It was here. Now, first of all, one of the bolts is already pulled through the hole. And second of all, if you look on the top, if you look, see how the rubber's cracked at the bolt holes? Same here, rubber's cracked at the bolt holes. This thing's gonna fail. So, this year, I'm gonna put this back on, and I'm gonna make a metal bracket to match the others and fix this problem. You can see there's 2 bolts, and there's this metal strip across the rubber. Alright, very similar on the top. This is the top chute. Rubber strip, rubber flaps, keep things from shooting back up in your face. Metal strips, everything's good. Okay, here's a rubber flap. You can See, it got squished pretty hard by the washer, so I'll put it on backwards this time the other way. I don't know if it really matters. I'm going to use my little bar, and I'm hoping these nuts and bolts are still going to be long enough. Yeah, it looks like they might be. We'll see. Well, that ought to hold it. Alright, well thanks for watching today. Hope you enjoyed it. It's a pretty easy machine to work on, really. It's not complicated to do these kind of maintenance tasks on it, but unfortunately it seems like there's still some quality issues with it that are still cropping up here after one season of use. But it's not a terrible machine. It functions fairly well, but it's obviously has some flaws. But hope you liked the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you all soon.